Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. This could quite possibly be one of the best Sundays you've ever had. Trumor or rumor, Gary Gensler resignation. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.24 trillion market cap. The market is up 0.2% this morning. Bitcoin 30,500 plus right now. Ethereum 1917 and change. And we see Tether market cap 83.3 billion. Watching it close. 48 cents and holding critical line for XRP right now. Up 1.7 on the 24-hour, off by just as much almost at the 7-day. Let's take a look at this. We got 4th of July coming up, Independence Day. And what a way to celebrate Independence Day other than becoming your alternative personal bank using Glint Pay and physically allocated gold that you can buy. And right now you can get DPV50, the referral code, to get 50% off vaulting and insurance fees for the next 12 months. This is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. Once you start doing it, you will love having this alternative to the banking system and having gold you can spend directly on your MasterCard debit card. Click the link. Well, this right here is Michael Branch talking about the court filing. Bittrex argues that the SEC does not have the authority to regulate cryptocurrencies as securities unless explicitly granted by Congress. We love hearing that. And let's get Meta Lawman here, who talks about what happened here with the SEC versus U.S. Bittrex U.S. litigation update here. He says, earlier today, Bittrex U.S. and Bittrex founder filed motion to dismiss the complaints case. And this is good news for anyone concerned about the SEC's regulatory overreach. And that's why. And shout out to Meta Lawman, who has been a key legal analyst in this space. He says it's hard to understand why the SEC leadership would choose to invest its resources in a failure to register case against crypto exchange when there is no allegation of investor harm. And then B, the exchange has exited the U.S. How does this advance investor protection mission? Well, I tell you, we're going to be talking about the possibility that maybe Gary Gensler has resigned. We have something to look at here in just a moment. But until we do, shout out to Elizabeth here, who puts out this one about Tether. Says Tether has the most of its reserves in UST bills, whose yields have surged to around 5%. And as Nick Carter pointed out, Tether is the most profitable business per employee on the planet. Compare BlackRock 2023 net income forecast at $5.5 billion and a half of bill short of Tether's mark. So look, here's what I'll say here. For clarity, we don't have a true bottom to crypto market until we know exactly how the U.S. government, U.S. Treasury, Department of Justice, and the Fed view USD Tether, selling the only product that the Fed has ever had, U.S. dollars. Maybe USD Tether can have those kinds of profits because the bank, Deltec Bank, that oversees $83.5 billion of USD Tether only has 2 parking spots. Molly Elmore adds here, where is the Tether CEO? Why is the only person to liaison with the press the CTO? Isn't that odd for a multi-billion-dollar fintech? Another fantastic point. And listen, I say this because look, what is my basis for this? Because I don't know the true answer on USD Tether. But my basis for this is that the SEC waited 8 years to sue Ripple. Right? 8 years to sue Ripple. What are we to think about USD Tether, who's been out here for a decade or more, and nothing has happened to them as of yet? But that doesn't mean we should not make the assumption, because you know what that means, to assume. You should not make the assumption just because an entity is out here that it is free and clear to roam. That is for sure. In a significant development, it has been revealed that the U.S. Faster Payments Council highlighted the capabilities of Ripple and XRP in a document discussing cross-border payment solutions. It's right here. We went over it. We've gone over it before. You can see the mention that Ripple cryptocurrency within cross-border payments. Ripple solution leverages blockchain digital asset XRP, which acts as a bridge between local and domestic fiat currencies. You know, this is all positive news to me, but here we have a clip of none other than Darren Moore right here. Says he had the pleasure of speaking with Craig DeWitt, former Ripple executive, who was on the Faster Payments Council representing Ripple, and now has Real Super Mojo, which is going to be an incredible NFT company, I have no doubt, talking about ETHgate, CBDCs, FedNow, and more. Make sure you check out the whole interview. Here's Darren with Craig DeWitt.
So,
right, and it could be just an option, right? Like FedWire is an option. You don't have to use FedWire. You can use ACH, which I believe is the private sector, right? That does ACH. So it's not in the end all be all. Now, with all that being said, though, I believe the Fed actually has announced the FedNow platform, right? That's live now. So we do have real-time payments as we speak, or is it, I think it's coming up soon or something. Does that make Ripple's work easier to do? If, the last mile type of situation, having that upgraded infrastructure going from one corridor to the next, does that make everything easier and smoother?
yeah, so starting with what FedNow is, I like FedNow because it starts to offer a level playing field. Historically, commercial banks like JP Morgan, who have accounts everywhere and a critical mass of accounts, have been able to do things just on their internal ledger that other banks can't, namely instant transfers, because that's just ones and zeros on their own database. FedNow is cool because anybody who has an account at the Federal Reserve, whether you're a credit union or a financial institution, you have access to doing these instantaneous payments. And what that means is now they can offer better experiences to their customers, whether it's through your banking app or something else to do instant payments, including to merchants. That's very cool. That's actually good for business in the United States. Now, like in terms of where that goes for a company like Ripple really benefits from more efficient domestic payment systems. And I think one thing that we learned very early on is that domestic payment systems, while they are not perfect, like buying a cup of coffee today with a credit card with Visa, not that bad, right? Like the actual rails themselves aren't that bad. Where you run into a little bit of trouble is the actual mechanics around the dollar itself and the infinity printing press that goes up. But putting that aside, like domestic payments are actually decent today. FedNow is going to make that a little better. There's going to be other innovations as well. The real problem in payments, like the one that hurts the worst, is how you string together international payments. Because for domestic payment, usually you have a central bank, and that central bank is able to do things as fast as they want to because everything reconciles to their ledger. On a cross-border basis, you don't have a supranational bank. There's no bank of banks, right? Unless you're talking about Citigroup. And so getting rid of those correspondent banks and just connecting to hyper-efficient domestic systems, that's a future where you could have instantaneous cross-border payment from, call it US to Japan for fractions of a penny. And, that's not going to use a currency to do that, a government-denominated currency. That's going to use a crypto asset, and XRP is really well suited for that. So,
and there you have it right there from the one and only Craig DeWitt. Shout out to him and Darren Moore. Give him a follow. Right here, I want to play for you a quick clip that was from back in May 22 of last year, shared here by Chad. Shout out to Chad, who's been crushing it. And I want to bring you in. I don't want to play you the whole clip here. Let me see if I can cue this up properly. It's just a little further in here. There we go. That's close enough. I want you to listen here what the Digital Dollar Project, Christian Carlo, are really working towards right here to ensure that a digital dollar, a CBDC, if you will, or even a retail digital dollar, however you want to look at it, stablecoin, USDC, what have you, making sure that if we do this, in the United States that the money is not going to sacrifice the rights of every citizen who holds it. Take a listen.
Social media. What an excellent point. It prompted me to ask Chris Giancarlo, are you suggesting the government should consider adopting a protocol of value for the internet to ensure that the Fourth Amendment and other freedoms and privacies are respected for the new financial system / the digital dollar? Chris Giancarlo says it's worth considering.
Now, let me tell you right here. This is interesting to me because I've never forgotten it, after having that exchange with Chris, and what it makes me think of is adopting a value protocol or protocols that are held and regulated to a constitutional standard, respecting the rights of everyone who uses it, just like paper money. We shall see, but this is a critical point that needs to be respected as the development and the launch of these kind of digital assets are brought to the fore. And here we never thought we'd see it. Look, it's time to unite, Charles. Charles Hoskinson took massive shots towards a lot of the XRP community. He blocked me. He blocked so many other people. And I got to be honest, I never said a cross word about him. And in fact, I tried to have civil discourse because he was calling us grand conspiracists. But as it turns out, old Charles is finding out that the XRP community just knew it and saw it a little more clearly than he did. And now that we're moving into that realization, it's time to unblock us, Charles. Let's get this going and let's all unite because we're stronger together.
But bureaucrats gonna bureaucrat, starting to believe this free pass thing a little bit, huh? It's starting to feel that way. I got some sympathy for you XRP guys. Yeah, I'm being pushed into that corner. I really am. I don't know about that. A little cray-cray.
Well, it's not cray-cray, Charles, and for that, we should be unblocked, and I don't know if I am now or not, but let's see if Charles has unblocked me here. Still blocked. It's despicable to come to that kind of realization and know that you've blocked someone like myself who's done nothing but defend this space and never taken a personal shot at you. We're not going to be really in a place where we can all push and unite and fight through this moment unless we get past this really siloed tribalist banter. The XRP community, fortunately, has been right, and we've had the perseverance to stick together through it no matter who's attacked us. And speaking of attacks, ladies and gentlemen, it's breaking right here from Crypto Geek. United States Securities Exchange Commission official confirms Gary Gensler's resignation. I said, don't play with me, because I tell you, this would be really what we need to really get the right path and leadership in place to make sure that this digital asset innovation is allowed to thrive and grow in an open, free market without someone in a government agency using their own personal views to try to overreach this space from the SEC. Now, this Trumor or is it rumor? Because we don't yet know. This is the actual article from Crypto Alert here. Shout out to Michael Branch, give him a follow. An anonymous official from the Securities Exchange Commission has reportedly disclosed that the Gary Gensler, chairman of the SEC, has submitted his resignation following an internal investigation. Now, here's the downside to all of this. I'm not going to read the whole article to you because there's no sense. I've read it. And there's no specific citing of why the resignation is happening. You want to know what the bad news is? There's so many bad things tied to this guy. You can't say it's any one particular thing. Is it over the signing of the Steele dossier? Is it which is the fake Russian hack, right? Or Russian business, right? The Russian dossier that was created and manufactured for which he signed the check for from the Clinton administration to approve. Was it the ESG overreach? Was it I mean, the list goes on. Where do we stop here, right? You know, there's so many things that this could be from. Was it the FTX? I looked the other way and gave them a special purpose broker dealer's license, and then used the fact that I didn't actually vet that company right, and then use FTX as the beacon of why the SEC should be able to continue to crush the innovators of this space. Is it Prometheum? Is it the fact that he's awarded a special purpose broker dealer's license to a company that is known and has been affiliated with a China CCP organization? Like I said, the list is long and the choices are many. But what we need to find out now, is this Trumor or is it rumor? Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.